you look at Hollywood right now, it feels like the giant robot genre is making a serious comeback. With not one but two huge robot-centered films in the pipeline, people can't help but circle back to Guillermo del Toro's Pacific Rim franchise. And even though the series hasn't been on the big screen for years, these upcoming projects actually give more hope than ever that Pacific Rim 3 might still happen. Add to that the fact that a brand new series is officially in production, and it suddenly looks like this once dormant franchise still has plenty of fuel left in the tank. So, let's break down everything going on with Pacific Rim, from what Charlie Hunnam has said about returning, to the Amazon Prime live-action series, to the new competition from Voltron and Gundam, and why it all might actually make a third Pacific Rim film more likely instead of less. Charlie Hunnam, the star of the original movie, has been very open about his feelings toward both the franchise and Guillermo del Toro. When asked if he would ever step back into Raleigh Becket's shoes for Pacific Rim 3, Hunnam's answer was short, sweet, and extremely telling. "I would do anything that Guillermo was doing. If Guillermo invites me to do Pacific Rim 3, I'll be there, or anything else he wants me to do." That response shows a bunch of things at once. For one, Hunnam clearly hasn't been actively chasing the idea of another sequel, but at the same time, his loyalty to del Toro is unshakable. It also reveals that while the project itself might not be at the top of his mind, the chance to reunite with the visionary director who helped launch his Hollywood career would be irresistible. That's important, because it's easy to forget how much Hunnam and del Toro already achieved together. Not only did Hunnam lead the first Pacific Rim to box office success, but he also starred in del Toro's gothic romance, Crimson Peak. That bond means, if Pacific Rim 3 ever picks up momentum, it could be the perfect opportunity to bring back that collaboration, and fans would love to see it. After all, audiences connected with Raleigh because Hunnam played him with just the right mix of toughness and vulnerability, and del Toro knew exactly how to draw that out. While fans continue to wonder about another film, the big news keeping the Pacific Rim universe alive is the live-action television series being developed by Eric Heiserer. He's not just some random choice either. He's an Oscar-nominated writer best known for crafting Arrival, Bird Box, and most recently, the Shadow and Bone series for Netflix. He's proven over and over that he knows how to handle science fiction and fantasy worlds with both emotion and spectacle. The show is in development at Amazon Prime Video with Legendary Television backing it, which is exciting because Legendary has been the backbone of Pacific Rim since the beginning. So even though the big screen side of the franchise has been quiet, this series could be a game changer and reignite mainstream interest. For anyone who needs a refresher, the Pacific Rim universe is built around one of the coolest concepts in modern science fiction: humanity pushed to the edge of extinction by Kaiju, enormous interdimensional monsters that pour out of the sea. To fight back, humanity builds Jaegers, giant robots that need two pilots to operate, connected by a neural link called the Drift. It's an idea that combines anime-inspired mecha storytelling with the scale of a blockbuster disaster movie, and del Toro's execution in the 2013 film made it feel fresh, epic, and emotional all at once. The imagery of Jaegers trading punches with skyscraper-sized kaiju in neon-lit rainstorms is something that people still remember vividly even a decade later. That first film was a passion project for del Toro. He co-wrote it with Travis Beacham and filled it with nods to the kaiju and mecha genres he loved growing up. It wasn't just big action, it was a love letter. And even though it wasn't a box office juggernaut in the US, it did very well internationally, which showed there was a worldwide audience hungry for stories like this. The sequel, Pacific Rim Uprising, didn't manage to capture the same magic, mostly because del Toro stepped aside to focus on other projects. Directed by Stephen S. DeKnight and led by John Boyega, the film wasn't terrible, but critics and fans agreed it didn't measure up. The story felt flatter, the characters less compelling, and even the visual style felt like a downgrade compared to del Toro's rich, painterly approach. Although it expanded the lore and introduced new Jaegers, it didn't move the franchise forward in a meaningful way. That stumble is a big reason why this series stalled on the big screen. But here's where things get interesting. Despite that setback, Pacific Rim hasn't disappeared. In 2021, Netflix released the anime spin-off Pacific Rim: The Black, which followed two siblings piloting an abandoned Jaeger across a ruined Australia. The show was well received, ran for 2 seasons, and reminded everyone just how much potential this world still has. It might not have been a billion-dollar blockbuster, but it proved fans were still engaged and hungry for more stories set in this universe. And now, with Heiserer's live-action series in the works, we're seeing the franchise shift toward a new phase. The timing couldn't be better either, because Hollywood is suddenly buzzing with giant robot projects again. 2 massive ones are on the horizon: Voltron and Gundam. Voltron is finally getting its long-awaited live-action adaptation, directed by Rawson Marshall Thurber and starring Henry Cavill, Rita Ora, Sterling K. Brown, and others. For anyone unfamiliar, Voltron started as an animated series in the 1980s and follows a team of pilots controlling robotic lions that merge into one giant robot. The movie has been stuck in development hell since 2005, but filming actually began in late 2024, which means it's really happening this time. Then there's Gundam, which is arguably the granddaddy of all mecha franchises. Starting back in 1979, Mobile Suit Gundam basically created the real robot genre in anime, mixing grounded military politics with giant humanoid machines. The live-action movie has been in development for years, and while Netflix was originally attached, the latest update has Jim Mickle directing, and actress Sydney Sweeney is rumored to be in talks for a role. Even though details are scarce, the fact that it's moving forward shows there's a real appetite for giant robot stories again. So, how does this all connect to Pacific Rim? On the surface, you might think Voltron and Gundam are bad news because they create competition. But in reality, they're proof of concept. If studios believe audiences will show up for giant robot blockbusters, then Pacific Rim, which already has a built-in fan base, a recognizable title, and Del Toro's stamp of quality, suddenly looks like an incredibly smart property to revive. Hollywood doesn't ignore trends, and if Voltron or Gundam hit big, it could be the push needed to finally greenlight Pacific Rim 3. It's also worth remembering that Pacific Rim was ahead of its time. When it launched in 2013, the world wasn't quite ready for an anime-inspired blockbuster, but in the years since, anime has exploded in global popularity. From Attack on Titan to My Hero Academia to Demon Slayer, fans around the world are embracing giant monsters, robots, and over-the-top battles. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.